Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 361. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, alongside Johnny V.
I'm here next to you.
I know.
It's a little warm down here tonight.
It is.
Even though I have the AC all blasted. So, oh, wait, maybe it helps.
You know what's not warm? The seats that I want to get. Ooh, that does feel amazing.
That's really nice, opening up that vent.
Big boy here. The seats that I want to get in a new vehicle that I'd like to purchase, they have cooled seats.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, oh, boy. I experienced that once. It was actually when I used a car via Toro when I covered an event in Kansas one year, a couple years ago. I think it was for the Junior Worlds. And Toro, for any of those that don't know, this is not a paid ad for them, you essentially rent a car from a person, from an individual for a matter of days. So it's the Airbnb-ing of cars, right? It's a great alternative when some rental car prices and places are crazy or out of whack. Look into Turo, T-U-R-O. Learned of it from Steve Dodge years ago. And at that time, it was really inexpensive to rent some couple-year late model Lexus from a gentleman in the Kansas City area so that I could drive down to Emporia. It had cooled seats. I was like, wow, I've never had this experience before. And it was particularly hot that week. It's Emporia. It was 100-plus degrees.
As Emporia gets.
Yes. And
they call that Tuesday.
That is the last time I ever had said luxury. I am now looking at potentially a slightly nicer version of a Mazda 6. And it has...
Like the 7?
No.
6.5?
I don't think it goes that way. But it has... That's one of the features that are in this version. And boy, oh boy, when you're a larger fella like myself, I do everything I can to keep myself nice and cool. And I unfortunately, that may be a major feature that has sold me on that particular model, on that particular trim. It's so comfortable. And to be fair, even my children thought it was nice and cool and comfortable today. So talk about first world problems, right? That's where we're at. Well, so talking about tonight, we are going to do a quick recap of our Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series. Of course, we're talking about the DGLO. Went down this last weekend.
What a great event.
Super event. Lots of great things coming from it. Seeing Nate Heinold and his crew have taken over. It was the 39th iteration of this event. Already looking forward. I saw a post earlier today that there will probably be something a little extra special for the 40th taking place next year. In fact, little quick jaunt down memory lane. You and I attended DGLOs.
We did.
The DGLO, as we always referred to it as, was one of the absolute staples in disc golf, right there with, we'll say, the Memorial. Mm-hmm. Like every year, the DGLO was an event, especially being from the Midwest, about 5.5, 6 hours from there. Everybody knew about it, and when the Elite Series started within the PDGA, that was one of the first stapled events to the Elite Series, as they called it. And people like Ken Climo were always in Ann Arbor at the Monster course and at the original course. They had 2 sets of 24 ultimately out there. And that event, again, I'll use the phrase, it's a staple event. Throughout the years, it kind of got, I don't want to say brushed aside. It certainly slowed down. I think at one point it was even technically sponsored by Dynamic Disc. I think 1 year it was a B tier, and it was going through various tournament directors, and Dynamic Disc had come in and was the title sponsor of the event. So it's gone through a lot of versions in 39 years, but certainly an incredible event. And then now the Toboggan is kind of the home for it, plus a couple of the other courses if you're playing on the AM side. And when it's all said and done, pretty cool. Certainly, again, a little bit of bias from Johnny and I as we'd either played in it, been to it, seen it, or experienced it in some capacity, and it being somewhat regional to us. But that took place this weekend. Huge shout out, Kristen Tatar, of course. Spoiler, your FPO champion, and Eagle McMahon on the MPO side. Then we're going to actually very quickly, I should say, jump right into a special guest. We're going to have Robert McCall tonight. He's going to be talking to us about some other events that are taking place around the country. Just to throw it out there, it's kind of like, what we've had Dana do from time to time, and we'll potentially rotate the two of them in and out and have a different sound and voice every once in a while when Robert's available, sometimes when Dana's available. So I'm not going to say this is like an interview for Robert, but he better bring some fire.
He buckles under pressure, I heard. So don't throw any fastballs at him.
Okay.
Do your normal disc golf interview. Lob him up the easy questions. Hey, Robert, how's your hair gel? Things like that.
Yeah, how do you get it to stay like that? Yep.
Don't go rough on him, please.
Don't go difficult like we like when I really put the screws to dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like we're known for.
Yes.
Really putting the screws to our guests.
Hard-hitting screws that we do. Also, I think we're going to have a one disc, one tip segment tonight, thanks to Ace Run Productions. Super excited to offer and feature that tonight. Overall, it might be a little bit of a shorter show is a better way to put it. Johnny's got to get up early in the morning and travel.
I don't actually. That changed.
Oh.
Originally, I told you because I thought I was going to have to get up and go to Minnesota in the morning. I was going to catch
kind of like I do.
I was going to catch a 5:55 flight, fly over to Minnesota, move a couple plugs, and fly back. But thankfully, I was able to find someone locally on site that was able to take care of this at the last minute. So I will not be traveling to Minnesota, although I am going to be traveling to West Palm Beach, Florida next Monday. So next Tuesday there could be just a little
significant disruption. That's what I like to hear. Well, I'll be in Peoria getting work done. All right, guys, let's get right to it. We're going to bring in one Robert McCall.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Guys?
Great. How are you?
It's been a long time since I've been on the camera, so like I do feel so much pressure. I'm glad you said something, Johnny. I'm scared.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
I'm just gonna really crank it up, ratchet it up for you. First of all, welcome. So good to see and hear from you. Of course, the disc golf world had gotten to know and love you so much, not only from doing the commentary with us, being a golfer yourself, doing that, but then being over at Dynamic Disc for a while, and then you had a little bit of a just an overall family transition, new addition to the family, and ultimately you moved away from Emporia. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much exactly what happened. Everyone says like there's a few life events that are really stressful, and they kind of rank them. Getting married is one of them. Moving is one of them. Getting a new job is one of them. We just did like a bunch of them at once. Yeah, we didn't get that one yet.
Okay,
good. I'm just kidding. So we moved.
Oh no.
Just kidding. We are. It's whatever.
You can't come back from that one.
Yeah. What a terrible time to announce something like that.
I hope she knew.
No. Yeah. She knows
she's
we're
at
the house right now. That's right.
This is off the rails.
No. So we moved back to Texas, really just to be closer to our families because we have a son. His name is Owen. He is 10 months old now, which is crazy. He's growing like wild. And so life is good for us. I started a new job and Shay started a new job just a few months before we moved with a company that bought our old company. So it's been a lot of transition lately. Not a lot of disc golf for me, not a lot of disc golf media for me, but I've just kind of been, lurking.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Taking it in.
Every time someone asks, like, commentary, what are we going to do? I say, I know a guy. I know a guy who'd be happy. We can get him to fly up to Milwaukee. He can do some commentary here in the booth with us. He's a good guy. He's a great guy. His name is Philo.
Hey, listen.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, his name's Philo. He's very ready to participate. On the real, I miss commentary so much. It was for sure the most fun thing that I did. Disc Golf Answer Man was really fun too. So I'd say I'd put those 1A and 1B, but holy crap. It was that I enjoyed that. So one of these days.
Yeah.
I'd like to get back into it.
Just that we know your schedule obviously has increased considerably over these last year or two. But where there's an opportunity, I've said the same thing. I enjoy doing commentary with a lot of people, with I'll say everyone. I've enjoyed it. But you and I go even back further than most because we had some early goings at it, and it's always been a good time. And so if there's any way that we can get you or have you involved, I'm also first in that line to try to make it happen. So hopefully we can make things happen. So
I'd be all about it.
So you said lurking. I mean, you're not employed by a disc golf company. You haven't been just personally playing a ton. Is it weird? Do you personally feel out of the loop, or do you feel like, are you missing out, or is it like, a break right now feels just fine?
I'd say it's a little bit of both. I really miss I miss being in the loop. Like I used to find out about things before a lot of people would, and I was like, hey, that's really cool. I'd like to know that. Now it's just like I just watch disc golf when it's on. I took in, I don't know, a decent bit of DGLO this weekend, and then several of the Elite Series events just when I see them live or post-produced. Obviously, I watched Worlds, which was fantastic. But I haven't played a lot. My shoulder started bothering me pretty shortly after we moved, like rotator cuff stuff. And so I've just been doing some physical therapy and staying off of it for a little while. So not a whole lot of playing, but just watching and seeing how the system unfolds, or the season unfolds, I guess. It's been great. Like, as a fan who doesn't know the inside stuff anymore, it's cool. It's a new perspective. I haven't had it in a while.
I was just going to say, that's got to feel a little weird because you are very much, as you mentioned, an insider, sometimes knowing ahead of other people. But do you find yourself looking for answers? Are you thinking like, oh man, I mean, you're smart enough to be able to maybe guess what's going on, or you probably have a good idea, and your hunch is more likely more right than it is wrong, I'm guessing, because of your history. But are there things that are ever just still kind of burning, like, what the heck is happening there? I don't know that answer this time. Is there any of that?
Sure. I would say not quite yet, just because we haven't gotten to the end of the season and people are starting to change sponsors. I had a pretty decent idea where people were going to move and shake for a little while there. But in the meantime, I've just been hanging and watching. The only thing to wonder is, like, how are disc golf companies going to keep up with demand? And the answer is they're just going to sell out as soon as everything hits the shelf. So it's a great time to be a disc golf manufacturer, a great time to be in disc golf right now for sure, because we're booming. So it's pretty cool.
Is there anything that's been just an obvious uptick for you? Again, I don't want to say you're removed, but has there been anything where it's like, holy cow, this has jumped leaps and bounds, or this is wildly different, good, bad, or otherwise? Has there been anything that's just like, holy cow, it wasn't like that just 18 months ago, for that you've noticed?
Right. I mean, when I was working at DD, and I know this was the same as all manufacturers at the time, but they couldn't keep discs on the shelves. It went from when COVID started, everybody was, just hesitant or concerned about what was coming. And then it seemed like everyone had a banner year, and now everyone's having another banner year. And so the growth is pretty unprecedented. I think the people who are at the top of disc golf right now are at the top at a perfect time, because there are a lot more dollars coming in here than there normally are. And so that's a good thing for them.
We say that now, but then in 10 years from now, if it's, we'll just say, another 20% bigger, we're going to look back and be like, man, it would have been best to be on the top of your game now and not 10 years ago like these guys are. We said the same thing. I could imagine us saying the same thing about Climo. Like, wow, look how big our sport is getting. He's got to be loving his name on a disc and getting a quarter for every disc sold with his name on it, or whatever it was back in the day. So it's, the projections are good, is what everyone's thinking.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing to see the growth. We already have some, young guns starting to make their way up. We have more parity at the top than we've had in the last few years. We've always had perennially Paul and Ricky have been up there, and now it's Paul, Ricky, Eagle, Calvin. You'll see Chris Dickerson. Golly, Kyle Klein nearly won this weekend. Holy crap. Come on. So I love getting to watch new people participate at the top and challenge for the top spot. And and James Conrad, gosh, you can't ask for a better world champion story than that. And such a cool guy too. Like, James is the coolest kid in school, and so just to watch him win was really cool. So yeah, I think these guys they're living the glory years. Even 5 years down the road, I think people will be like, wow, this was a really good time to be in disc golf. So, yep. And now if people start handing out more $10 million 10-year contracts, that could be better for more people down the road. But
I'm getting in line for mine.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't gotten my call yet, but I think that's probably coming soon.
Mm-hmm. And to clarify, I earlier said Mazda, not Maserati. So I just want to make sure that I'm still where I need to be.
Right.
As of right now for what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I recently bought a Toyota. Okay. So just saying.
Look at you. What kind of Toyota did you get? Like,
I got a RAV4 hybrid.
Whoa, easy there, baller.
It's kind of awesome. Yeah. So I had a Honda Accord. It was fine. There was enough space for traveling around and just doing all of our regular stuff. But when we were going to have a child, we wanted to have some more room, because now, Terry and I were talking about this earlier. He was car shopping. Like, when your kids are grown, you can take a suitcase for them. Not grown, but, a little bit older. But when we get on the road with Owen, we've got, a suitcase for him and a pack and play and a stroller and some toys. And golly, it's just like, I used to be able to fit a lot of stuff in this car. Now most of it's just his stuff. So it's adjusting, but it's fine.
Another thing that, as you were just talking about with so many winners, we're also seeing obviously that on the FPO side with the parity over there as well. Mm-hmm. It for so long has, and this is no slight to even Sarah Holcomb or Lisa Fakers or Jessica Weiss, but it has largely been the Kat and Paige show. And they're still right there in the thick of things pretty much every single weekend. Of course, Kat just winning worlds and Paige being right there. But seeing the amount of winners that have come, what did we
seven
winners?
Different women have won an Elite Series event or better this year.
Yes,
that is 3 years ago we would have said no way. That's just crazy. Instead of 2, maybe it'd be 3, maybe 4, but we're at 7 right now.
And we're still missing, quote unquote, 2 of arguably the top 5 women in the world being overseas. They could easily have snuck in another one, or we could be seeing them come later in the season, depending on how things look, and pick some up. I don't think 7's going to be the final number.
Yeah. Well, it's who's going to be next? Who can rise to the occasion, and then they're going to have probably the weekend of their life, and that's fine. But who is that going to be? I guess that becomes the question. But
it could be a Heather Young, Sarah Holcomb, maybe a Deanne Carey, who's been playing very well lately. We've seen just those 3 women tend to kind of filter up to the top. Sarah Holcomb coming into the end of the season where a much more wooded course, she feels much more comfortable. It would not shock me at all to see Sarah Holcomb pull down a victory at a Maple Hill, a Green Mountain, any of the East Coast events.
Yeah. And Paige Shue. If
True.
I know she obviously has other priorities right now, but if she gets herself into a position where she's playing at 1 or 2 of these big events yet, she could show up and win on any given.
Or Juliana Korver.
Yeah.
Dude, how cool is it that Juliana's back out there playing? That's awesome. Like on the tour, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I'll ask of you a little bit of to dive into your history. Was she was before your time? Is that still a fair statement? Before
I started competing. Yes. Before I started competing, I've known who she was since early on. Mm-hmm. But I haven't seen her compete in person.
Okay.
Yeah, but and I wasn't going to a lot of big events when I started either, which was '08. So
Okay.
I mean, it's been. I'm sure she was still competing at the time, but yeah, just to see her on some coverage and man, super cool. A legend of the game.
Truly. And then to think that, as I always say, she's eligible for a couple of other age-protected divisions, and here she is battling with women literally, half her age.
On the lead card at times.
Yeah, exactly. It's just been incredible to see. And, yeah, she could have a breakout weekend yet. I know she was just posting about some of her short-range putts and maybe working on a little bit of that, but she's got the distance, she's got the game, and the knowledge, the background, the mental, she's got all of that. It's just a matter of, putting it all together.
Yeah, she's a great golfer. She has a very good golf sense, when to go for things, when to lay up. And she's clearly knowledgeable about where her deficiencies are and even joking about them at times. So I have no doubts that she will work on them. And if she has to pull out a freestyle disc, I'd be down with seeing
it could
that.
happen. All right, Robert. Well, we're excited that you did some digging around. You found some stuff probably for some A tiers. Do you want to quickly touch on some Great Lakes Open specific stuff, or do you want to get right into some of the other stuff that you found first?
Let's just talk about two shots from Great Lakes Open. Okay. And if you watch the coverage, which two shots I'm going to say, one from each of the winners, but we'll start on the FPO side. Kristen, I love watching Kristen compete, right? She's a fantastic competitor, a really great putter, and I think she's one of the best players that can play from either side, right? She's got a great backhand. She's got a great forehand. She may have the best utility on both sides of the disc of any FPO player right now across the board. But gosh, when you're standing on, I haven't played toboggan before, but the hill leading up to 17's basket is pretty steep. From Kristen's perspective, I don't think she could see the bottom of the basket. And to jam that for three, knowing Paige is inside the circle, come on. That's
clutch.
What a huge conversion. Oh, yeah. I mean, call it whatever you want to. I freaked out when I saw it. That's huge. That's coming up in the moment that you have to, knowing that 18 is, I mean, it's tough to birdie for anybody, but Kristen said she wasn't playing for it. Paige throwing a turnover was going to have to throw a 100% perfect shot and probably hit a jumper just because it's so uphill. And so pretty sick putt from Kristen there. But then same hole for Eagle McMahon. Okay. When your drive lands over on the road, okay?
That's clearly the best place to be. We saw from the top two guys. That's where you want to be.
Duh.
It's the best footing, the best angle. But Eagle throwing that forced over forehand when straddling the guardrail, come on. That's so I don't know how far away he was from the basket. It flew like it was a long way from the basket, 400 feet or a little bit more up a hill too. That's just, come on. That's a ridiculously technical shot. One that most people, I think, aren't thinking, I'll just straddle this and throw it. I think most people would try and take as far back as they could from it and, force a backhand or just whatever. Incredible. If that's the shot that was the difference, I would say that's the shot that was the difference for Eagle. That's just, it's magic. I was impressed.
Most people will never throw that far in their lives, much less straddling a giant.
Still.
Yeah, standstill forehand. It was pure. It was pure.
Now, isn't it funny to us that Eagle, obviously with the power and the moment and everything else, but if he was just standing there, let's just say there was literally a 2-foot bush and he just had to have his foot propped up against the 2-foot bush that really wasn't even in his swing or his throw or anything, and he's in that same position, but the rail isn't there for him to straddle. It's crazy that it would seem like it would be not as impressive, but I just think this
but
visual.
It still might be the best shot that you saw all weekend. It still might be the best shot that you saw all weekend.
Well, when you're straddled like that, I can't imagine you're getting a lot of power out of your legs. You're not able to really probably drive. So a lot of that probably came from the core up, just getting that twist. Because if I throw a forehand, which I do poorly, if you throw a forehand, which you do poorly, it's a lot of, and maybe that's why we're bad at it. It's a lot of full body throwing. I really have to get probably like a James Conrad run up practically for my forehands just to make them go about 250. And
after a roll.
Well, yeah, the downhill. That's 250 with the Sarah Hokum roll.
There you go. Ouch.
God.
Too soon.
How
Too
terrible
soon.
was that?
Too soon.
That was so bad. I felt terrible for her. That's the stuff of nightmares.
I felt terrible over the first 12 seconds, and then I laughed from second 12 to 30, and then I kind of teared up from 30 to 38 seconds. So...
Jerk.
That's how long it was rolling. It's impressive.
It was actually 38 seconds. Our replay guy got it, and he's like, are we going to play this again? It's like 38 full seconds, and we were like, oh, wow, that's sad.
Yep. Might as well. One last DGLO thing, just while we're on it, while we're talking about standstills. I know he didn't win this weekend, but he had a great showing. You know who throws some standstills? Corey Ellis. Big shout out to Corey Ellis. He was munching on some standstill shots.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like I
That's
said
impressive.
to Philo, I feel like when I think about Corey, because I saw him at the distance competition earlier this year at the World Championships, and I've seen him here and there on the tour. I don't see him week in and week out like some of our other players, but I know of his power and how far he throws and how efficient he is with that. And then, Philo was like, yeah, that's great. And that's all true. But he's also this phenomenal putter. And so to see him just put it all together, I think it was great. Of course, if you're regional to that area, everybody knows Corey. And I'm not going to pretend like I didn't know Corey. I knew Corey. But this weekend, he was on even a larger stage. And I think that was awesome that everyone got to see the kind of player that he is. Just incredible. That's for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. He's one of those guys. I've got a few guys like this that I'm going to address here in a second, but he's one of those guys that, he doesn't get out and tour a whole lot, but if you're in his area, if you're playing a tournament in his area, freaking watch out. Like you're going to have a hard time keeping up.
Certainly. And the few conversations I have had with him, he's always been super gracious and kind and just a really nice guy to talk to. So if we see him out there more, again, I think his stock's just going to continue to rise, which is awesome to see. Okay. So those are a couple shots that stood out for you. Understandable. A couple other storylines, right, wrong, fair, harsh, or otherwise. Some people talking about Kevin Jones not being able to seal a deal or to lock it down. And then kind of similarly, in this sense, Paul McBeth really just not a factor at all this weekend. And I think maybe on any given weekend that's not as much of a story, but at an event where he's performed well, clearly, nearly perfect, and is in his backyard, and he can dominate out there, he was at no point a factor. And I saw a post about a migraine on the opening round, I think, but I don't think he had a migraine all 3 days. So it's a little surprising.
No, he was basically out of it on the third round. Like he had almost no chance to make a run at it. And I was looking at his third round score, and he performed very well on the back nine where everybody else struggled.
Yeah,
like that was where he could have made up strokes had he been on his game all weekend. But.
Yeah, but if you're asking if that's surprising, of course. I mean, whether Paul's the best player at the top of his game right this second compared to everybody else, who's to say? But when he's not in contention, that's surprising. That doesn't happen often. So, it's as much of a story as, it's more of a story than him winning the tournament for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So tough weekend for him. And as far as Kevin Jones, I'm a Kevin Jones fan. I like Kevin a lot. I love the way that he plays, how the energy he brings to a card. He's had a couple of wins, but I think it really is just a matter of time and him continuing to put himself in those situations where he's got to fight for the win to really start to break through and consistently be, up there and getting wins quite a bit. I think that it's really tough to win if you haven't played at that level consistently. And Kevin's taken his knocks, but he's getting that experience. It's like people say when you're selling stuff, every no is just one next step to a yes, right? That's what it is for Kevin. I think every loss is just getting him a little bit closer to where he feels like, all right, I can hold this down. I can win. And he's got the talent to do it. He's bad to the bone, man.
Yeah, it's so crazy seeing him getting into position so often, and that's how we know, he's just on the cusp of breaking through. And of course, he's gotten wins. I'm nobody's denying that, but he keeps putting himself there, and then everyone's amped up. He's amped up, and then that last day, that last round has really just not delivered. He hasn't delivered come that last round, and it's not a matter of want out of Kevin. It's just something happens, and it was a really slow start this weekend, and everybody else was ready to leave him behind because it was all systems go, come Sunday for our lead guard otherwise. Especially Eagle.
His time, golly, no joke. Kev's time is coming though. I believe it. He's got a lot of time in front of him, and he's super athletic. So it's not. I don't think he's going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
No, certainly not. And then FPO side, again, just generically, anything that's crazy or jumps off the board at you, storyline wise, outside of Kristen and Paige and what they were doing.
Is there a storyline, and I'll bring it up, that Paige can't handle pressure right now? I mean, we've seen her now twice in when someone puts pressure on her, she has faltered. And that could just be a coincidence, but we saw it at Worlds. Yep. And we saw it here where Paige had a putt on 17 that I thought was a gimme. I mean, it was 25 feet, maybe.
Sure. And
she just left chains and didn't commit to it or something. I don't know if there's a story there. I hope not, but if it's something to kind of keep an eye on, I think.
Do you Sure. Can you agree or disagree, or do you see that, or is that she just missed a putt?
I don't know, because I would say, I'm thinking back to how many years ago was it at the Memorial? I mean, she was on top of the basket at 18 and chained out left to lose the event. And that's, like you said, that's not the first time that's happened. So to say that Paige can't stand up under pressure is probably a bit of a misnomer. But I will say, and this would be true of most any top athlete in our sport, but she's most comfortable a few shots ahead or a bunch of shots behind, where she can just go for everything and put up some 1050 rated round and jump and win. So whether she can handle pressure or not, I'm not going to say that's Paige's strong suit, that when the pressure is on, she steps up and delivers better than anybody else. But I wouldn't say it's worse than anybody else. No one else stands out in the FPO field right now as someone who, in that pressure situation, always converts. You know what I mean? I can't think of another competitor who I think, man, if there's a putt on the line, or I'm taking this person over Paige. You know what I mean? I'm not sure I'm not sure I have that person in mind. You could argue Katrina after her second shot at Worlds this year. I mean, come on.
I think just
silly.
I think Paige just has a hard time dialing down. That's truly what I feel. She's, if you put her 10 feet further back, I think she hits that putt. Her trying to, we've seen it before. Her trying to power down on shots tends to give her issues, whether it's on the drive, clearly whether it's on the approach, and maybe when it's on the putt. I think if there's that hill behind there, and maybe it just got in her head, don't jam it because I don't want to blow past it by 50 feet, and that caused enough to put a little doubt in your head. I don't think there's truly, I just honestly brought up, I don't think there's truly much to the pressure thing, but I do feel like there is an issue with her dialing down her power.
My last take on that will be, I maybe we can all agree that
nope.
If Kristen doesn't make that, Kristen's underneath the basket for birdie. I think Paige makes her putt. I think she's more comfortable. Like you just said, I mean, call that pressure. Paige went from what seemed like she's probably sitting there after everyone's thrown their second. She's thinking, wow, I should be picking up the much needed stroke here. I should have a 1-stroke lead going into a hole that's going to be very tough to get past one or the other. And then immediately, once Kristen puts that in, she's flipped the script, and all the pressure is now on Paige. What maybe felt like very little pressure, now there's a ton of pressure put on her. Now, whether she felt that or not, that's a question for her. But boy, did that script got flipped very quickly when it went from what seemed like an easy 1-stroke lead to then, oh my gosh, I need to make this because otherwise I may be losing the whole tournament. So
yeah,
all right.
I think you're right. It's a classic big putt.
Exactly.
It's like when you're playing match play and you think your opponent's totally out of the hole, and all of a sudden they hit some crazy shot, and now like, gosh, that 15-footer feels like a 30-footer all of a sudden. So there's something to that, but I'm not ready to say that Paige handles it any worse than any other competitor.
Sure.
We just see her at the top a lot. So she has a much larger sample size of those sort of situations than most competitors do.
And there's not a person in that field that is not scared if Paige is a stroke behind them with like 3 or 4 to go. Like everybody knows, shit, she's gonna get me.
yeah, here she comes. I mean, it's so crazy to look at her scorecard too. Is to open with the triple that she had. Oof, terrible shot off to the right. And then she must have taken exhausted a few shots just to get back out and ultimately clean up. And then she goes on a tear and does what she needs to do. She ends up getting 9 birdies that round, which was the same amount as Kristen. She had 9 birdies, but the triple to open. It's like, of course, you give her the nod for the recovery and for getting right back on and still creating the great battle that it was, but. Man, that's it's crazy to see that the whole event got flipped upside down right after the 37th hole of the event too. So,
right,
all right.
And really quickly, unfortunately for Paige, that's exactly what happened at Worlds too. Perfect position. Katrina throws a perfect shot. Like that's tough, but that's what it is. I mean, there's no way that she doesn't take that hard and come back stronger, in my opinion. But yeah, just a brutal turn of events for her. 2 tournaments pretty close to one another.
She'll win the next 2. Just watch.
Yeah, probably so. And maybe a few after that.
Yeah. But by like 7 or something dumb, we just crush the field.
Just rage on some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, Terry, let's get to some other action.
Yep.
Because this DGLO wasn't the only disc golf played this weekend, you guys.
What?
I don't know if y'all knew that. Yeah, it's true. There's a website you can go to. It lists all the tournaments.
Okay. I mean, none of these other ones were live on the Disc Golf Network, and people had to listen to me yammer on about them. So it's kind of like they happened, maybe. But what else was out there?
Yeah, they don't carry quite the prestige, but it's whatever. No, a couple of A tiers this weekend. One of them is the Forsyth Decatur Open. That was in Illinois, and Danny Beauchamp taking down the win, or maybe Beauchamp. It could be a soft CH. Who knows? Win by 5, though. Come on. Averaging 10.18. That netted him $1,209. That's pretty good. I would accept that as a payout for winning a tournament. Mm-hmm. Beat some solid players as well. Cam Messerschmidt and Matt Dollar finished in tied for second. A couple of quality players there. So congratulations to Danny. That's a good turnout. Ellen Woodboom was at that event as well. There's only 3 FPO players at that event. Ellen was the highest rated by 80 points, and she played well. So she won.
Yeah, by 35.
She crushed. Yeah. She
did what she should have done.
Yeah, she did some stuff, and it was pretty cool. But then the highlight of the event for me, scroll down to MA1, in 3rd place, Kyle Klein II. Now, you may be wondering, is this Kyle Klein's son? And the answer is probably not. But if it is, that's a power family, and you better watch out for him. Okay? I'm just saying. Third place.
From Champaign, Illinois. I mean, we can't rule it out. Let's put it that way. We can't rule it out.
We almost biologically, physically can. Almost.
No. Yeah, we should biologically rule it out, but as a joke, we should keep it going forever.
I mean, is Kyle Klein the second a 6-year-old? I mean, can we truly?
I'm saying anyway.
See, at least this Kyle Klein knows his position in the disc golf world. He knows he's not the top Kyle Klein. He's the second guy. He's hoping someday to hand the 2 over to the other Kyle Klein and be like, now, son, you are the number 2. I will take number 1.
That's right. You know? That's right. Imagine being named Paul Macbeth and just starting to play disc golf. Like you have to be the second. I'm sorry. These are the facts. So anyway, that was one of our A tiers this weekend. The other was the Midwest Amateur Championships, amateur A tier in Kansas City. And so some courses that I played out there, enjoyable courses. Lots of birdies out there, but then, if Wyandotte County is set with all the OB, it can be a tough course. And I am positive I'm not going to say this person's name correctly, but it looks like Truin Mosher.
I would go with Truin
Mosher. Getting the win by 4. He's a 966 rated player, dropping a 996 on the weekend. That's good golf. Every round, 30 points over your rating. Yeah, you'd take that. Couple of guys tied for second behind him, Jesse Adame and Lee Killian getting their second places, and then a tie for fourth, Luther Hargrove and Benjamin Schaefer. Shout out to those guys. Good shooting this weekend. FA1, Allie Smith got the win, 15 shots, dropping the hammer on the field. So congratulations to you, Allie. Well done. And then a couple other bigger B tiers, I think, just of note with some good players there. The Lucky Disc Golf Open was in Idaho this weekend, and Joseph Kozlowski from Utah taking down the W. This is of note because he won by 1 shot over, I don't know if it's Dallin or Dallin. I'm going to say Dallin Blanchard. He is one of those guys like Corey Ellis, who maybe you haven't heard of Dallin very much. But if you play in the Northwest, you know that guy because he's smoked you repeatedly. He's a 1035 rated guy. So big ups to Joseph for getting the W there. And in third place, just behind Dallin, is his brother Chris. It was a Blanchard family event this weekend. Lots of Blanchards out there. But yeah, anytime you come out on top of those guys in the Northwest, I'm gonna tip my cap to you. Cade Philomohala there as well, newly crowned Junior Worlds champ. I don't know if you guys heard he throws far.
Yeah,
far.
So there's been a number of times where I've been in Arizona covering events. I know he's been traveling and playing and whatnot, but then it seemed like every time there was a chance for him to be on or near a card I was covering, he was 1 stroke off that pace or whatever the case was. Can you give us a little bit more? Because I remember looking early in the year, seeing that he had declined all this cash. He was one of the highest rated players going into Junior Worlds and, just killing it out of Utah, right? And what's the scoop if somebody's not familiar with him? Can you elaborate?
All right. I'll tell you what I know about Cade, and which is not much because, like I said, I haven't been in, the back rooms where people talk about players and sponsorships and stuff like that. But I've heard that Cade and I believe one of his buddies decided they were going to go out on tour this year, and just see if they can make it. And they've played pretty well, like you said, even foregoing cash because he wanted to participate in Junior Worlds. And there was a bit of maybe not controversy, but just chatter about Cade playing at Worlds and it feeling wrong because he's been on tour. If you're an amateur, you should be able to play in in Junior Worlds. That's kind of how I feel about it. And for him to win, you've earned the title. You deserve that. So he's one of those names that if you don't know already, keep your eye out. He's like Zach Arlinghouse, right?
Okay.
If you don't know these guys, give it a little bit.
You will.
You're gonna hear from them. They're pretty bad to the bone. So anyway, pretty nice turnout for the tournament there. The Lucky Disc Golf Open. Joseph taking home $927 for his efforts, averaging 1019, even in the face of Dallin coming back and shooting a 1059 rated final round. He put on a scorcher. So big ups to Joseph because he was feeling the heat. So good on him. And then the last one that I picked up on, which was a big tournament this weekend, was a Twin Town Throwdown. Mm-hmm. This was a Jason Wilder event in St. Paul, Minnesota. Shout out Jason. I like that guy. Ryan Sheldon took down the win there. And maybe the people who were at Forsyth or who were at Lucky Disc Golf Open, maybe they should have gone to Twin Town Throwdown, because Ryan Sheldon, if the IRS is listening, he didn't win any money this weekend. But if they aren't, he won $2,000.
Wow.
For winning first. Come on. That's a nice weekend.
It certainly is.
Average 1028 golf. He's 1016 rated. So yeah, he can play, but he played well this weekend and just narrowly edged out Casey White for the win. And yeah, Casey's been on the up and up. Gosh, it seems like the last couple of years really like skyrocketed in his rating and skills and starting to make some more feature cards. And so, yeah, not surprising to see him really close there. He's still taking home 4 digits in his paycheck. So you can't be really sad for him.
Not at all. But, yeah, big shout out to Jason. Some solid work out there.
Yeah, but great turnout at that event. And yeah, so actually a ton of events this weekend. A few too many for me to go through every single one of them. But these are the highlights, the kind of the bigger ones that I saw out there. And yeah, nice payout at Twin Town Throwdown.
Yeah, certainly. I know Jason has really taken to the vending and tournament directing side of things. For some that don't know, he's also one of the main conduits to the world over there at Zuka, and has just been, a great resource and has done a lot of really good things. And I know he's been working extra hard over there in Minnesota to get things going. So on his end, although there's a ton of great golf in Minnesota, as we're going to be seeing this weekend, this upcoming weekend, and a few weeks ago when we had the Majestic and so many other great events. But yeah, that's a great thriving community. I'll follow that, and I know you a Texas guy, and then Emporia for a few years. But are there any other pockets or areas of the country where you've spent any extended amount of time, or maybe at least a week or 10 days or anything like that you've experienced for golf and really gotten yourself into the disc golf community? Robert, is there any? Sure.
So I've really only lived, since I started playing disc golf, I lived in Abilene, Texas. Small community there, but great people. Loved learning to play there. I could throw lots of hyzers, but not very straight shots because it's wide open and very windy. So I had to do some learning after that. But I've played a lot then we lived in Austin, then moved up to Emporia, then we're back just south of Austin right now. So I'm very familiar with those communities and courses, but there were a lot of tournaments in the DFW area that I've played. Turner Park, Gateway, Harry Myers out in Rockwall, the Colony. There's a lot of good courses up there, a lot of great people up there. Yeah, that's a great place to play. And then I haven't spent a whole lot of like extended periods of time elsewhere, but if I could shout out an area of the country that I think gets overlooked that won't be for much longer, it's Des Moines. Des Moines, their course. I mean, we only saw Pickard at the Challenge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They have some beautiful courses, really difficult. I mean, for every skill level too. That for me that's a pretty fantastic place to play disc golf. I haven't gotten to be on the East Coast too much, but I've been in the Northeast a little bit. So we were in Maine some. I don't know if there's a big disc golf community in Vermont near Smugglers, but if I had to just choose somewhere to live, maybe like half the year, I'll take Smugglers Notch.
Yeah.
We've talked about going up there just to visit when the tournament's happening or not. That's a cool place to be. So I like that place. But I hear about a lot of these cities around the country where it's like, you have to go visit. I'm less likely to be able to do that now than I was before. But, Portland comes to mind, like that whole Northwest scene. Obviously, there's plenty of disc golf in California that's highly touted. I've been to Arizona. I've been at the Memorial several times. it's they're not my favorite courses, but they are they have tradition. It's like you said about DGLO. Gosh, the Memorial's been going for forever.
Yeah, like 40, roughly 40-ish years as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as other pockets of the country, I haven't seen a whole lot of them. Probably not as many as people might assume just based on traveling around. But I will shout out the trip that we did in Finland and Sweden. The course in Skellefteå is called Disc Golf Terminalen. And look, if you ever get a chance, please go play that course. It is beautiful. It's in my top 3 for sure. Opens with a par 6, a legit par 6.
Yeah,
some might call that a little excessive,
and that's right where I would close it. It can open and close on hole 1. For me.
So I'm like, is this the front 9 or is this just?
It's a beautiful place to play. So anyway, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's I was just gonna say, again, we're very biased here, and this is what we grew up with, and for a while we didn't necessarily know any differently, but being in this Midwestern swing for a few weeks obviously is almost literally home for people like Johnny V and I, and it's stuff we've come to just almost take for granted, knowing that there's great golf in Minnesota. I just mentioned a few of the other events that will or have taken place. We're obviously going there for the preserve, the great golf, the very storied and historic golf that's taken place over in Michigan for all these years, especially when in Michigan you sometimes would have some of the Canadian contingency come down and participate, a Kim Scott Wood and others, Elaine King, when she lived in Canada, and so a lot of them would kind of infiltrate into playing in Michigan golf, and Iowa, as you just mentioned, Wisconsin, Illinois, like we're so spoiled, and I think a lot of us Midwesterners don't even know just how good we have it. There's a lot of other great pockets, but the Midwest is a great place for some golf.
Heck yeah.
And it's kind of cool to be able to show that off a little bit for a few weeks here. And obviously we move over into Peoria. I don't necessarily consider Idlewild Midwest, but with how great that course is, maybe we should just claim it as part of us well.
Hey, come sit with us. We expect you over here.
Another gem that most of the world now knows about in the Idlewild course and that track. So pretty damn cool for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
So I heard that if Robert is looking to get back into disc golf, their Vibram might be coming back. So maybe you can get a job with Vibram. I mean,
hey, nice.
I think
you know what I was thinking, Johnny, is that I would just leave a disc golf company just to go find another one.
Yeah, I mean,
move somewhere else.
I didn't say anything about moving.
That's the whole reason we moved.
I didn't say anything about moving. Maybe Vibram needs a Austin-based representative. I'm just saying.
Maybe so. Yeah, that's right. Yes. I mean, I'm surprised my inbox hasn't been flooded with sponsorship requests lately. So it's really weird. But yeah, I did see that about Vibram. I threw a few Vibram discs before I got sponsored, and some of the putters I really liked. They're pretty nice. Like the Soul is it's a taller putter, kind of like an AVR Challenger, Warden, in that same kind of group of discs. But it doesn't have quite as much glide, so you have to commit to it a little bit more. And I kind of like that. You really have to, give it to it. You have to show it the way to the basket. It's not going to float its way in.
I threw the lace a little bit. I think we got one or two in players packs, and I had that in my bag for a little while. I like the way it feel. I never got into the O lace and the unlace, or I think were the other ones. But I did throw the lace. I thought it was a solid disc.
So I guess all originating from Johnny's joking into a little bit more serious capacity, would an opportunity like that? You of course worked at Dynamic Disc. You did a lot of media things. You did some team stuff. If a company, I'll say a smaller company, in terms of disc golf, if a smaller disc golf
Smashbox,
no, like a smaller disc golf manufacturer, I think of a Phil Arthur and what he's been doing with his putters and what he's developing. I think of a Vibram, for instance, and some of the smaller ones, the mint discs, so to speak. would that interest you to go into a smaller facility to try and a smaller operation is a better word to try and help build it up? Or if you were to get back involved with a company, would you find yourself more kin to an established, larger known entity? Is there
Sure.
one?
Good question. I honestly haven't thought about it. Not even a little bit. When we moved from Emporia, it was never with intentions of finding another disc golf company. I've loved working in disc golf. I still love playing disc golf, but if I was to jump back into working at a company, I think it'd have to be a pretty special opportunity. Yeah, I mean that's about as much as I've thought about it is from when you asked the question until I started answering it. I have friends who work at Mint Discs. Guy Boyan is one of the best guys out there. That dude, dang it. I said a pun and I didn't mean to. And I didn't come on the show to say puns. Darn it.
When Terry's around, they just fly out.
It's contagious.
It is.
Darn you, Terry. Anyway, I love Guy Boyan. Love what they're doing with Mint Discs. But, I would have a conversation with someone if they called. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I'm really looking to get back into that world right now.
Okay.
I really I enjoyed working at Dynamic Discs. It was wonderful. Now I'm enjoying the setup that I have. I work from home 3 or 4 days a week. I spend a ton of time with my family and with my boy. And yeah, I mean, life is pretty good. It'd have to be a pretty special opportunity to really consider it.
How much time, and the board's kind of asking this as well.
Sure.
How much time could you see committing to the idea of remaining in or getting back on the saddles of disc golf media, probably commentating? If you were co-commentating or part of a commentary team, is that something that you'd entertain doing that once a month? Would you like to do it every other weekend? If again, all the cards would have to fall in the right place, but is that something that wildly interests you still?
Oh, sure. I'm all about. I'll. It's just like I said earlier. Now I'm stuttering. It's coming out. I haven't practiced much.
All right, never mind. You're fired.
Yeah. Cut me, please. This interview is over. No, I love commentary, and if I was given the opportunity to do it, I think, gosh, once a month would be cool. Once I get into a little bit more of a rhythm with my current job and things are selling well and all that, then I could probably swing more frequently than that. But a weekend here and there, like take a Friday or a Thursday and a Friday and work for several hours on that. Sure. I think that'd be awesome. Yeah. I mean, anytime, like I said, I totally lucked into this commentary thing with you guys. Like I don't, this will be obvious to you guys, but in case you were wondering, I don't have a broadcast journalism background. I know that's shocking to you, Johnny.
No, truly.
Yeah, to some people it is. Yeah.
No, it's not. I mean, what I was going to say is I'm calling a little bit of party foul on that one because you have a lot of experience up in front of people in a crowd. I mean, you've said yourself,
that's fair.
Through your church and whatnot, like you're used to being on stage. You're used to microphones in front of you. You're used to being, you understand what needs to be done when you're behind or in front, depending on how you want to look at it, a microphone. And you are not you're not shy. We all know you're a wonderful guy, all that other garbage.
Stupid stuff.
Stupid stuff. But you were a natural for, and maybe just we saw that. Maybe you can't see that in yourself, but some of us looked at that and were like, no, Robert McCall, that makes total sense. Like he has some of the chops and great voice for it and understands the players, and which is why, we were very, happy to have you come on. And it just, to me, it made sense. Maybe it doesn't seem that way to you.
No, and I truly appreciate that. If you're listening and you're wondering, that's I started working with you guys because Dixon wasn't able to play or to do commentary at Worlds in 2016 because he was playing well and I was playing like garbage. Turns out I've continued to play like garbage since, but
I'm sure he'll remind you too.
Yeah, all the time. Oh man, we did like a year-long bet while we lived in Emporia where we competed and kept up with our scores, and I won one year by 1 stroke, and the others he beat me by like 30 or 40, something stupid, whatever. But anyway, but yeah, so since then, like I didn't go looking for it. It worked out that I could work with you guys, and ever since I love doing commentary and to watch other people and continue to improve and, take the things that I think they do well that I'm deficient in. I've really enjoyed doing that. And so, yeah, I would say it's probably my favorite thing to do in disc golf. I would choose to do commentary over play at an event right now, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. I know exactly the sentiment. It was crazy at one point to think such a thing, but eventually when you get into it and then it becomes a little bit addicting and it's just so much fun and you have the right team, it can become a no-brainer to go down that path or feel that way. So the only question along the commentary, there's a lot of chat about it week in and week out. Just want to know, who do you feel like is essentially the worst possible commentator that we have out there?
Good.
Yeah, if you want
good. I was hoping we'd get to this question.
You're like, well, let me get my list out.
Yeah, I've created a list. Can I share my screen?
And why is it Yuli? That's my only question.
Yuli's right there at the top. No, that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about this boom so much is we have gotten to see a lot of different voices that otherwise we might not have gotten to see.
Yeah.
Well, I guess here, whatever. I've enjoyed that. There's you got guys like Nate Perkins and Brian Earhart working together, and they're a great combination together.
Yep.
Both super analytical, both well spoken, awesome analysis. Like if you're looking for great analysis of why somebody did something or why somebody's form works a certain way, I mean, those guys have you covered. They're wonderful. I think the addition of Yuli to Jomis has been great. Yuli is, I like Yuli. I've known Yuli for a while. I'm not sure he'd say the same about me. It's whatever. But I'm a fan of Yuli, and just to hear him get to flourish in that environment has been awesome. And then, to hear new voices in live as well has been really cool. I do think it's funny, and I'll just say this about the commentators and who's the worst and who's the best. I'm just going to say this right now, and I don't mean for this to be a shot against anyone, okay? But there are some people who listen to a professional disc golfer on commentary, and because they're a professional disc golfer, they say, this is the best commentary I've ever heard. And it just isn't. Okay? These are the facts. I'm not saying that all professional disc golfers aren't great commentators. I'm saying that some are great commentators. And some have some insight that should be paired with somebody else who is there to kind of guide the show and lead them along. No names. I enjoy listening to a whole lot of people on commentary, but the people who said, "Oh gosh, name your top pro," is the best commentator, and the name they said wasn't Nate Sexton. Sorry. You're incorrect.
Yeah, you're essentially going along the age-old question of, do you have to be good or an ex-player to be a good commentator? And that always to me pairs right alongside, do you have to be a good player or highly rated or highly skilled to be a good course designer? Like and it can be the same of coaching. I feel like those are all kind of the same answers where you can, some people have certain skills because they have skills in one department, doesn't assume or guarantee that those skills carry over or translate into this other realm, so to speak. And I think there's a lot of people that just make an assumption, well, they're good at this, so this side is good too. And it's like, no, sometimes there's a disconnect. Sometimes it carries over. Sometimes there's a wild disconnect. And to each their own, because as the horse we can beat every single week is just that we've learned no matter who you put in the commentary booth, somebody's going to like them and somebody's not. And that's all there is to it. There is just no consensus. on a duo or a team or a combo on any given week. So
yeah. Unfortunately, there's no consensus that everyone is like, wow, this is the best. There's always going to be that person or few people in the chat who are just like, this is so stupid. I could do better. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I believe it.
All right. Well, we're done gushing over you for this week, I think.
Get it out of here.
So how did the job interview go? I mean, what can he do better?
I've heard better commentators, honestly.
Hey, but for real, same. Okay.
If he were a little higher rated, I think he could have done better today. But
yeah,
I'm back below 1,000. I played Waco because I knew we were going to be back in Texas. I wanted to play. I signed up for a while ago with the knowledge that I was going to get destroyed. But I just wanted to see my friends and play and everything, and I did get destroyed. And so I'm at, I don't know, 980 something now, and unlikely to really change much this year until my shoulder starts to feel better. But, playing for fun, commentating, come on. We can do those things.
Yeah, that's definitely where it's at instead. And we just need to have our own little silly expos where we just go out and play for the silliness on the course. Maybe we come up with some crazy stakes. I think of like the celebrity pro-am. Obviously, it's not going to carry that much weight, but maybe a few of those fun exhibitions, and then outside of that, we get to the real meat and the potatoes. On the mics. That's where it's at.
I'm in for that. I'm all about it.
All right, buddy. Well, as we said in opening and introducing you tonight, we'd love to check in with you from time to time. That might be once every couple weeks, once a month. I mean, if you beg us, maybe we could have it more. I don't know, but seriously, it's great. And no, we didn't fire Dana for anyone that's out there wondering or anything like that. I just think a matter of rotating in. And some weeks, if we're all just being frank, some weeks we don't have time to have another person because we've got one or two other guests lined up. So it'll always be constantly free flowing. But it's by all means any week that you think like, hey, I've got some straight fire, I'm ready to bring some stuff. Don't ever hesitate to reach out and make sure we can get you in and chat with you as well. So we'll keep it free flowing if you're good with that.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I'll be around. I mean, same thing that happened today. If you call on Tuesday afternoon and you're like, hey, it's time to do this. Then it's time to do this.
Let me just say, Tuesday afternoon, you got a lot of heads up compared to most of our guests.
That's true.
Yeah. And you were not my 9th choice. I want you to know that. You were absolutely right on the top of the list.
True story. He called me and he said, "Who?" I'm like, "Let's bring Robert on."
Yeah. It was a great idea. And then that's what I honestly kind of just segued right into the whole idea of like, let's have him check in semi-regularly or from time to time. And I love how I'm excited to see where it goes, buddy.
The check's in the mail too. Just keep
oh
looking
yes,
for it.
thank you. If you could expedite that, that'd be great. I gotta get some lighting in here. I'm not camera ready as usual. It's whatever. Next time.
Just flash up your Venmo and we'll just quick send it to you real quick.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, and if we don't pay, just send like Dixon after us, and he can try and collect from us.
I got you. I know a guy.
Yeah, you do. All right, seriously, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for the updates. I'm sure the world is super excited to know what you got going on, and just getting the updates for everybody. We love it.
Yeah, sure.
I might call you in a couple weeks. I might be down in Austin for a few days. So if so,
we'll
get Torchy's Tacos or something and hang out,
dude. Yes, we will do that. I'm excited for that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
McCall him maybe. All right, we'll catch you later. All right, love you, buddy. Take care.
Boo to Terry.
I'll take it. I don't care. Carly Rae Jepsen. It's okay.
You just couldn't let it go.
I wasn't even going to. That was off the cuff when you said there might be a reach out, and so I thought, this is crazy. Here's his number. Okay. We'll call him maybe. All right. Yeah, real original. I know. But then again, it's almost so old that it could be.
It's fresh again. Yeah. It's fresh again because most kids don't know that reference.
Exactly.
I'd love to have Robert do a podcast of some sort in general,
Oh,
just
yeah.
anything, like bring back On the McCall or something along those
Yeah,
lines.
or like have people like ask a bunch of questions and then he answers them. We could do no, and seriously, and in that same vein, we should catch up with a few. I was also thinking catching with some of our other favorite media personalities, the Bobby Browns, the McCabe's.
That's what the off season's for.
All these different people we can continue to check in with. And within the media realm, happy birthday, Follow Flight Mike over at Jomez. I believe I saw today celebrating a birthday. So
I've got a little bone to pick with that post. They said something about him being dancing around discs and such. And
he has dodged thousands and a few he hasn't.
well, not even that. Not even that. That guy hasn't been behind a camera in a while. He is now an After Effects and Premiere ninja. That dude is phenomenal behind the keyboard. I'm sure he can still handle himself okay behind a camera, but I'll take that guy's keyboard skills 100% of the time. So happy birthday, Follow Flight Mike. Bravo.
Yeah.
You are
of
you
course.
are a blessing to disc golf. His skills and everything bring a lot to our sport. So congratulations. Thank you for living another year.
Yes. Good job.
Just saying.
Avery Jenkins, I think, celebrated her birthday. I'm a little behind on my birthdays these days, but I know Avery also celebrated her birthday in the last couple of days. So happy birthday to him. He's as old as you now, and he's officially older than me for a few more days as well, as we're pretty close together.
Yeah, we're getting there.
All right.
What day's your birthday fall on?
It falls on next Wednesday.
Okay.
Next Wednesday, I believe, is the day. I think I'm going to be in the Peoria area. Yes, August 4th. So yeah, it falls on that day. Which, gosh, I just asked for one little favor on my birthday. Why can't I be, featured on ESPN2 that day? No. In all seriousness, I've heard, and there's times I can be wrong. I've heard though that the Portland Open production that has been put together from when we were obviously covering that a few months ago, that is being repackaged and put together in a presentation that will be on ESPN2. They're also talking about cutting it a different version, an even shorter highlight version that may be on the Ocho on ESPN8 or something.
That's
but
interesting.
on ESPN2, they were contemplating either an August 4th release or an August 2nd release, and I believe Monday. And look for Disc Golf Network and the Disc Golf Pro Tour to kind of
give you actual information.
Yeah, I was going to say back up and maybe finalize what I'm saying. But as far as I heard of, they were contemplating on those 2 days, and the last I heard, it was going to be released Monday. I thought it would be extra cool as it only mattering to me and no one else in the world. It'd be kind of cool to be on ESPN2 for the first time ever on my actual birthday, but it may come out 2 days before that. So check your local listings. A lot of fun. Big shout out Joe Canali over at Bluefoot.
Doing
Great
work.
Insane amount of work in order to work with the Disc Golf Network, to work with our post teams, our live team, to put together a package so that it will show up on ESPN2. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Do we care? Well, no, I don't want to go there. All right, what else do you got? Anything else? PDGA updates. Whoa. Let's go there. PDGA, I don't know if they released new stats today, but I will say voting ends on, I want to say the 31st. So please make sure to go out and vote for the board of directors. Usually they release on Tuesdays an update with how many people have voted, and I was just going to go quickly look for that. Did you see anything today?
I have not seen anything today.
They've been really good at, coincidentally, releasing those on... okay, here you go. You can vote in the PDGA elections. It ends on the 31st. Results will be tallied on August 1st and released on Monday, August 2nd. And it says, do your part. And I'm waiting for the graphic to come through. Does it tell us? Here's an update. Sorry, I'm literally watching it on... Oh, gosh. Don't tell me. Okay, 19.27% participation. So just shy of 20% of our active PDGA members have voted. So it's just like everything else. Don't complain until you vote, or unless you vote. You can complain after you vote, but at least vote. That's a good starting point. Fair enough. 19.27% of our membership has voted thus far, and it ends on the 31st. Okay.
A couple of PDGA announcements real quick. The PDGA Elite Series, this was released about a week ago, has moved, all Elite Series events have moved into what's known as Phase 3 for COVID protocol, which basically brings them virtually back to normal. Unlimited spectators, I believe that's what it said. Phase 3.
You could read it.
Phase 3, I could. I have it up here. Restores normal event protocols and relaxes the limits on spectators subject to local guidance. Phase 3 has been implemented for the remainder of the 2021 season, barring a significant shift in the status of the pandemic. So at this point, it feels like in the disc golf world, all things are coming back to normal. So we'll see what that, without getting political, we'll see how that goes. I know there's been some flare-ups and things in different places. So just let that be known. The 2021 World's registration reminder and international travel decision timelines are going on right now. So Wednesday, July 28th at 12:01, to the 2021 Amateur Worlds registration will continue for all PDGA amateur events to register for any division they're eligible for.
Okay.
So if you didn't get in and you still want to play, there are spots open in probably many divisions, and you can you don't need to qualify. You can just sign up. So,
assuming you meet eligibility
correct.
requirements.
You're not a pro, and you're not too old or too young or something weird like that. So just those are kind of the two things that we are seeing right now.
Okay, and also the Masters Worlds. I see a few people flying and getting ready for the Masters Worlds to take place. I know Philo had talked about how he's going to compete next week. And, best of luck to him and my other fellow co-commentator in Elaine King. So best of luck to them as they're heading down to, I believe, the Johnson City area for the Masters World Championships. So, yeah, very cool on that end. Voting, yeah, do that. Pretty easy there.
Other than, we talked about the Vibram, that they put out kind of a feeler for possibly getting back into the disc golf sport. I mean, that could be anything right now. We may never see anything of it, but just some notes went out, some feelers, as they say. Do you feel like it would be a good idea for Vibram to come back, seeing as how they are a unique type of disc? It's not just another quote-unquote disc manufacturer. They are they do the all rubber discs, and it's not your typical mold.
Yeah, it's funny enough. I was thinking about that earlier today. I had got my hands or discovered a few Vibram Birdie Bash player packs, extra ones that I had, I think from 2016. So I have a handful of Vibram discs, additional ones, besides the one I stashed away years ago, along with some Vibram polos, a couple really nice Vibram water bottles. I found all of those recently, and then that got me to thinking today. I didn't see necessarily the post, but it got me thinking today. Those molds have been developed and they're in place, and that research and development, I'm pretty certain, is the toughest part.
That's a lot of it.
So I feel like it. Obviously, there's gonna be some cost analysis as to what it takes for them to go out and get their disc. Ramp up their disc production to get it going again. It always, of course, it comes down to their profits and if it's worth it for them to do. Vibram is part of, is it Qualberg? I believe is how it's pronounced. This ginormous company that makes all sorts of things. I know a ton of firefighters, boots and soles, military equipment. Lots of different people are using Vibram or Qualberg. I think it's Qualberg products, and that's the backbone or the infrastructure. Vibram discs, I believe, of the Vibram company was the tiniest sliver of priority, and so when they got out of it, I couldn't say I was entirely surprised. But now with the way disc golf is booming, and you've got most of that work, assuming the molds are somewhere in the factory, and you could bring those back, and it's not a crazy amount of extra work to, so to speak, fire the stuff back up and get it going again. Like, I actually have a lot of questions, and that's kind of what led me to asking Robert just that. Like, if the right person came along, would that interest you? If you could be I'll say the Steve Dodge of Vibram, who originally got them sold on making discs, and they said, hey, we've got a job. We'd love for you to head up Vibram Disc Golf again. We're getting the band back together. Like, that, I think that'd be a really cool job for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. And the question, I don't know if the constraints for disc manufacturers at all is materials, or if it's just labor or speculation. But I have to wonder if the Vibram product would be easier to manufacture as opposed to plastic, rubber versus plastic. I don't know where or if there are actually any sort of issues with plastic. I know there was at the beginning of COVID, that was some of the talk, but I don't know if that has gone away. One thing that hasn't gone away,
no, it hasn't,
is our one disc, one tip. We're going to sit here. This is a one disc, one tip from Ace Run Productions. Thank you, Ace Run Productions. This is Silas Schultz giving us his one disc, one tip.
What's up, everybody? It's Felix with Ace Run Productions. We are back with another one disc, one tip segment. Today we've got Discmania Sponsor Pro, Mr. Silas Schultz.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So Silas, you've been doing this now for a while. You're touring. You were the 2018 Next Gen winner.
That's right.
How long have you actually been playing the sport of disc golf?
Ever since I was 6. So basically my whole life, 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so a long time.
All right. So right now you're sponsored by Discmania.
That's correct.
You've got a choice of a lot of really premium plastic.
Exactly.
If you could think of one disc that's in your bag now that you think could make a difference on anybody's game from beginner to pro, what disc would that be?
It would be the Neo Origin. So this disc is a understable mid-range, but it has more glide than any other disc I've ever thrown or any other disc I've bagged. It's not super torque resistant, so you have to have the touch, but for a slower arm speed, this is going to be just like a really nice hyzer flip to go straight. And for a bigger arm speed, this disc is going to, with the right finesse, go straight, and when thrown on a backhand, will fly like a sidearm. Just because of the amount of glide it has, it'll turn that way without actually rolling.
That sounds like it's really useful, especially in the woods.
Absolutely,
All
yeah.
right. So you've been through a lot of level of competitions. You've been to the big stage and won a big event like the Next Gen Finals. If you could think of one tip that can make a difference in anybody's game, what would that be?
It would be confidence in yourself, regardless of what the scorecard said, what you've done earlier in the round, or anything like that. This is something that I've just recently started to adopt because I felt like I was too much of a momentum player. Like, if I hit a couple putts early, then I would feel my putter and I'd putt great. But if I was missing those putts, it would lead to like a really tough putting round or something like that. So to keep a level head is key, but also to be confident in yourself, regardless of what happened on the last hole. Even if it was a big putt, I'm still confident. I have the same level of confidence in my game and in my play, regardless of what has happened before that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Silas, for joining us. I want to thank Smashbox, as always, for airing these segments. And Silas, if these guys want to follow along on your social media or support your sponsors, where can they do that?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at Silas Schultz. I post a bunch of content on there, and also my YouTube channel, Silas Schultz. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, Discmania, for helping me out, giving me this.
There you go. Go out and get you one of these Neo Origins. We'll have a link in the description below where you can get your hands on one. Silas, again, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Smashbox. And as always, from Ace Run Productions, let's run it.
Perfect,
man. Thanks, bro.
Good stuff.
Good stuff it is.
Let's run it. How come we don't do the fist bump?
We
very
need
often?
to. I don't think.
Can no one see it? We should do the fist bump. No one can see.
So if we turned and kissed, they wouldn't. What?
They don't see it when we do that.
All right. Of course. Thank you to the boys over there at Ace Run, and of course Silas. I'm always so blessed to say that I've whether it's been the next gen, it's largely been the next gen actually throughout a number of these years, seeing the likes of Silas come through, the Kyle Kleins, so
I
many. I
thought you were just going to rattle through the Schultzes.
Yeah,
Silas,
all 19
Thunder,
of
Esther,
Simeon.
Simeon, yeah.
No, I don't have time for all 48 Schultzes. But it's been great watching so many of our next generation of superstars come along and come up through the ranks. So thanks again, Ace Run, for checking in with him. He is, as he says out there, Silas is such a cool dude. Go give him a follow. You certainly should. And I'll just quickly touch on before we close out for the regular show. Someone had come in a moment ago and just clarified and said, what were you talking about with ESPN? I was just saying that as of right now, from what we've gathered, ESPN2 is what will host the Portland Open. It's going to be a 2-hour feature that has been put together. I think it kind of recaps, the weekend, and it's the entire weekend really in this 2-hour feature that's been put together from when we were out when the Portland Open was taking place on the Disc Golf Network. I know some footage was pulled and used from GK. I know obviously a lot of the footage was then here from the Disc Golf Network camera and crew and everything else, and then it was ultimately all edited together by an Emmy award-winning editor. So looking forward to that, and as of right now, I believe that's slated for August 2nd. So, and it's going to be a good weekend. We didn't talk much about it. We'll talk a little bit about the preserve in the after show, and if you have other questions, we can go at it from there. So we're going to close things out. We want to thank Robert McCall for stepping in today, and if you're curious, we know it wasn't too long ago we had our champions Kristen Tatar on here for another event she won. Eagle McMahon was in that same boat, so having them, we didn't feel like was necessary. Yeah, we'll go with necessary. Congratulations to them. We got to watch them all weekend do their thing, and we're looking forward to them doing more of the same this upcoming weekend. So for Johnny V, myself, Robert McCall, that's been Smashbox TV's podcast 361. Stick around. We're going to have some extra action coming to you in the after show. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 361's After Show.
Matthew Gilbert, yes, you're a little bit too new of a Patreon supporter to get your name in that list, considering you signed up about 20 minutes ago. So shout out to you. I will do the update on the name list. I actually planned on doing it earlier today, but unfortunately got with the whole possible go to Minnesota thing, and then we had some friends over tonight. Not you, Terry, real friends. Tonight for dinner.
I dodged a bullet there.
I did not get a chance to get that taken care of, but hopefully your name will show up there next week.
Yeah, you hound him until he gets that done.
You hound me if you don't see it.
Yes. One of the questions that had come in was asking if I have any of the Meta tilts by Discmania. This is not a paid promotion from Discmania. In fact, I usually give them money, and they give me nothing but product in return. And so I do have the Meta tilts. I have all 20 of them. That is what most dealers were allotted. And so I have, I think the number was 20, which is too bad that it wasn't just 5 more, because I feel like the box that they arrived in could have fit 25, and there was a little extra room. Some of you saw me open them actually on my Instagram when Simon had opened them during the Celebrity Pro-Am after party that we had. I genuinely didn't know what was in that box. I was thinking it was something else. I thought they were Disc Golf Guy stamped putters of some kind, and instead they opened up and they were my order of the tilts. They were not eligible to be sold until today. Some people were full tilt and losing their minds because some had leaked out early.
No.
And so there was a big argument as to, and I'm just going to say it's nearly impossible to prevent that. Of course, all the dealers essentially sign in and say, hey, we're good with the terms. Send us whatever our allotment is. There was a very restricted number that people could get as a dealer. People got them, but the strict instructions were these can't be released until the 27th. Well, a couple days ago, you saw a couple of them pop up on the old internets for sale, and that was so some dealer somewhere had leaked a few out, and then everyone went super sleuthing to try and hunt down which dealer broke the rules. I have all of mine intact. None were sold early or at all. A few have been signed. That was part of the cool thing, is when Simon did open them, the very next day when we did breakfast, I actually had him sign a handful of them, and they may or may not ever see the light of day again. We'll see. We will see.
Order.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead with that. Massive J asks, have y'all interviewed that trash panda dude? We have not, but I've seen a little bit of...
don't even know if I'm familiar.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway that I've seen on the fringe of being able to see is that he has developed a disc or disc, maybe it's plural, multiple molds that are from some recycled materials. That's at the highest level. That's what I know.
I mean, Innova did that. They had their eco discs, which were recycled plastic, I believe.
Yeah, this is a totally different process. I mean, when someone like Innova says they have their eco or their recycled stuff or a grinder, that's sometimes they are literally taking a disc that was molded, they throw it back in the hopper in the machine, they chop it all back up into fine pellets, or not pellets, little pieces of plastic, and then that may get put back into a disc. It's like throwing it into a disposal or a garbage disposal, having it, chop it all back up. Trash Panda is doing it differently.
Okay.
Because he's not, I don't believe he's injection molding. You guys can correct me. I didn't think he was injection molding in the first place. And so, we should look into it. Again, I apologize. That's at the high level. That's what I think I know. So, Jeremy Beam out there saying Trash Panda should take the theoretical. That's a tough word. Say that word. Theoretical. I was trying to add one more syllable. Theoretical.
I mean, if you want to try to sound fancy, you add an extra syllable.
Yes, that's how you usually
like
sound.
Aluminium, but no. Theoretical or something. Yes. I don't know.
Trevor says, I wonder how many I will deal. Very few of them, I'll admit. I'll sell a couple. And at least one or two may get even gifted or favored out. I owe some people some favors. Not Johnny.
Oh, damn it.
The hell have you done for me?
Not much.
But I will likely hold on to them.
I'll let you stay in my beautiful studio. Wow. There's a couch right there if you ever just need to crash. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you are so good to me. Are the Disc Golf Pro Tour cards still a thing? That's a funny question, Darren, because
Yeah.
they have exploded. I'm going to be the first to admit I all but gave up on them. I bought a ton of them in year one. I mean, more than I think any other person I must own more than any other one person owns. That much I'm
for year
almost
one.
positive.
Probably. I know local Mike Harrington bought a ton of them as well.
I think I still have. I own a ton of the cards from the first year. Apparently, that was a smart move. The second year, I bought a bunch, but not as many. By years like 3 and 4, I was like, I don't know if anybody cares about these. I'm not going to invest as much into them. And I bought very few, almost none. And I have since then sold some of my 2016s. I've had very in-depth conversations with a few other people. I'm apparently sitting on a small gold mine of what I have from the 2016 year. And I'm okay with that.
And as we all say, it's a gold mine now.
Correct.
In 2 years, they might be close to
Back
worthless
to worthless
again. But you're doing the same thing with those cards that I'm doing with my Bitcoin. Just sitting on something you paid very little for that jumped up, and I mean, I've got I think 3 full sets of the first season. I think I'm still missing 1 or 2 of the champion cards from the full season, from the first one. Maybe it's just 1. And I've been buying at least 2 to 3 sets every year that just sit in a box, unopened, and just sit there. And I'm fine with what they're doing now. I really like it. That now you just buy when you buy the set, you get the complete set, including all the champion cards and everything. And if you want to go about it the other way, you can. But I do like just being able to get everything at once.
So long answer for you, Darren, is that yes, they are a thing, and it's one of those, like Johnny just said, though, who knows? I feel like it's going to stick around for a while because of the growth, because there's been so many more people, but they could go back to being worth not much. I suppose anything's possible. Glenn is out on the board. I think Glenn and I had a brief interaction with regard to some of these, and my eyes have been just opened that I've got a lot of valuable cards that I might just sit on for a while. But Glenn and I at one point worked something out. Disc Golf Nerd says I have 2 Ricky cards and may have bought one from Terry. You might have. Charlie says I need another tilt since my original stamp is fading from the friction of my bag, in my bag, never using it.
I just
leave it in a bag, put it in a poly bag, and then put it in your bag, and then just that'll be proof of how little you use it. If you never have to take it out of your bag,
you'll never use it. It should, because it's a disc that should probably really, truly, almost never be used by most humans. Now, I've never thrown it thumber. I don't know how it would act.
You don't throw it upside down like Simon or Eagle does?
No, I don't even own one. But in general, I don't believe it's probably as consistent when you throw it upside down. So short of a utility disc like a thumber, or it's too stable. It's too stable for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun disc to have. Maybe it works great overhand. I haven't seen anyone really throw it like that, but otherwise you should probably be Casey White, Simon Lizotte, Eagle McMahon. Those will only be probably 3 people in the world that should be throwing that disc.
Okay. It looks like I may have been wrong about some injection molding stuff early on. Yeah, we'll have to do some research, and maybe we can have a good conversation about it. Miles says, go buy them now. Yep, Miles, maybe you can confirm if you feel like I may own more of that first year than anyone else. I know I went all in on them. I went in on them big at the time. Darren says sports cards have really exploded. They certainly have. I've talked to a few people, obviously, that are outside of disc golf sport, the disc golf cards, and I know at some point Beckett and some of your other grading facilities have just stopped even accepting new cards because they were so backlogged in grading cards that they weren't. And at first they were. I heard they were limiting them, and then at a certain point they just flat out stopped even accepting them. I'm not sure where that's at now, but I'd heard that a few months ago. So it's absolutely crazy. I know there's a Paul McBeth card out on eBay that someone has listed for $20,000. I would love to see that sell personally, because then I would put my 10 on there.
Well, you'd have to get them graded.
But I know there's at least one out there. And of course, that's just an opening McBeth card, DGPT. I saw that $19,999 or best offer.
Best offer,
and then they're still charging for shipping, which I do kind of find funny. If you got anywhere near a fraction of that, I would ship it to you for free. But yeah, that one is graded.
If you paid for that, I've got a few of those cards. That's not even the champion one?
No, that's like just the straight up
regular. Oh God, I have a few of those. If you paid me a fraction of that, I would fly and drop them off to you. I'd get on a flight.
So yes, very much a thing. I'll be the first to admit I'm not 100% in on all of the details of all of the cards. Like I said, I actually I backed way off of I backed off of them after the first year, and now of course I wish I hadn't. But
I honestly, if
there's a year to have,
the first year's the one, because the other years don't seem to be nearly as valuable as the first year. But heck, reach out to Miles. I think he's still got some from this year, maybe even last year. I don't know.
No, I think he's all out of those.
He's all out of last year's?
Yeah.
Just this year's, maybe?
Miles, if there's any left, I'll buy them all.
This year's or last year's?
Either.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure they're all out. I think I got some of the last ones when I stocked up.
Did you? Okay.
Got to get in on it. All right. Let's see if we can read a few more. Paul Martin says, just finished letter, Kenny. I need to start flying. I've got some flights hopefully coming up in the next few months so that I can get caught up. That's usually the time I consume any kind of, Netflixing, Amazoning, that type of stuff. Yeah, I'd like to get back on it myself. Obviously, it's old news to Johnny. Came highly recommended. And I've also learned, man, there's a lot of people you show it to, they're just like, they just look at you like you're an idiot and it's not for them. And I can understand that. I really can.
Of course.
But
I get a kick out of it. I think it's
I
funny.
Too.
I don't know if officially shared this on the podcast or not. But we got the accepted offer on the house.
Oh yeah, last week was just the chatter. To speak of it. So you have officially now. This is not far from the neighborhood where Giannis and Oprah have places up on the north side of Milwaukee, right? You're in that general area.
They're a little further north than me.
Okay.
That's probably more Mequon. And I don't even know if Giannis lives up there.
No, I don't. I was making that part up, but there was always rumor had it that Oprah had a house in the northern.
It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, up in that in that general vicinity. Anyway, so you
so I'm going to pay for my house
accepted.
in Paul McBeth cards. They accepted the offer. And it's great.
Yeah, is that the one that came with the matching McLarens? This house or no?
No. The Maseratis.
Okay.
The Maseratis. McLarens, please. Who gets that? What kind of bougie thing is that? So we'll be. The closing date is August 30th, so we'll be moving in shortly after that. That's a Monday.
I'm busy.
So I know, and thankfully, I wouldn't want you to carry my stuff around anyway. So just be prepared that maybe that Tuesday might be a little iffy as far as where we're doing a broadcast from. And I need to set up a new studio. So I'm excited. There's a space that I'm looking forward to checking out in our basement and kind of converting that into it'll be a room. Like, this is half of a basement that's divided by this drop cloth behind us, and I'm gonna have kind of its own little room. So the studio it'll be interesting. So I'm excited to kind of reset up a studio.
Kidoki.
So yeah. So Tim Court says a new Smashbox basement. It will be in the basement.
Yeah.
But
From
but
one basement to another.
But it'll be a divided up basement. Right now it's a completely unfinished area. It looked like basically a little tool area that somebody had. And once the guy moves all the stuff out, that will be the new studio area.
Okay, Miles.
I'm excited.
It's got some more updates. What Nicholas says, what do you guys think about the 1,500-foot par 5 at the Preserve?
I haven't seen anything about any new holes at the Preserve, but just going off of the fact that it's 1,500 feet, that seems excessive.
Exciting?
To me. No.
No.
But I haven't seen the hole, so I it's hard to say. Maybe it's a great hole. I don't know. Here's what I'll
Tristan
say.
Tanner said otherwise today.
He didn't like the hole.
I don't know if he said boring or lazy. Something about being a connector hole, and then the very next message was
the longest connector hole in history.
Exactly. But then the very next message said something to the effect of all the other holes out at the Preserve are great. I love them. But he specifically called out that hole, and that's the only reason why I knew about it.
Maybe it truly is a bad hole. I don't know.
He didn't care for it. I'm going to see if I can find his exact wording just for to be complete. He says a 1,500-foot par 5 in the wide open, lazy connecting hole, which no thought it seems. Had a slight hurting wind.
Probably meant headwind.
Yep. Through full flex shot, distance roller, then still had 585 left for my third.
And Tristan Tanner is no slouch.
Yeah, and then the very next post said the rest of the Preserve is absolutely stunning, great holes, and incredible design. Very well done, Airborne Disc Golf, as in Kale Leviska. So that's what I know.
If it's truly just a wide open 1,500-foot hole, it doesn't seem enticing. It doesn't seem like it would be good for coverage. It doesn't seem like it would be good for a really great hole. But I will reserve judgment until I see it.
Okay.
McClaren Master says a great backup hole. Yeah, you're 100% right, because you're going to have groups that cannot drive until people are on their third throw, because some people can throw further than others. There will definitely probably be a backup there.
Yeah, we'll see how that... I did also want to quickly say, I think we're closing out the regular show. Quaberg, Quabaug Rubber Company is the exclusive licensee and manufacturer of Vibram soles in North America. So, yeah, Quaberg Rubber Company. That was what I was trying to spit out. I think I was calling it Qualberg, but it's Q-U-A.
Quabug?
Quabug?
Yeah, there's no R in there. So.
Yeah, I'll just add an R. Add an L, subtract an R, LMNOP. I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, wanted to get that out there. So, Nicholas, I hope we answered but not answered your question. Aaron Rodgers. What?
We're going to have one great final season with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
More or less what he did is he negotiated with the Packers and said, cool, I'll come back on these stipulations.
Mm-hmm.
But I want my option after this year to basically play where I want to play. So more or less,
which is the nice way to say, "Hey, I'm breaking up with you."
But
so
not
if you
right
could
now.
Just if you
but
could
I need a place to
start,
sleep.
Yeah, if you could start packing my boxes, I'm going to be moving out and breaking up with you. But yeah,
I mean, they've got a year to hopefully make him happy. Maybe he'll stay for the last 2 years of his contract. I wouldn't hold my breath for it based on what's going on, but the Packers are doing everything they can. A rumor has it they traded back for Randall Cobb to make him happy. I don't know the purpose of that as a sports fan, but what do you do? That's fine. I'll take another year of Rodgers, and then maybe Jordan Love is good, or odds are what we'll see is if Rodgers leaves, he'll probably go to the Saints because they're going to need somebody, and he'll play his last 2 or 3 years there, or I don't know, whatever. I mean, I'll never argue with having Aaron Rodgers behind the center.
Okay. Some Olympic stuff is going on. We'll throw that in for a timestamp.
Have you watched any?
I saw something about the 17-year-old from Alaska taking the gold, which sounds like it was an upset in the fact that she won it.
We watched it live last night.
Okay.
It was awesome.
I'm waiting for the post-production. I cannot wait that minute and 58 seconds or whatever it is.
You cut it down to the dive,
yes.
the flip turn, and the tap.
And then the tap. That's I'm waiting for post on that because I cannot stand the live commentators. So I'm waiting for post commentary on that. That I've seen. Is it Simeon? I sound like an idiot. Biles?
Simone Biles.
Simone, sorry. I've seen some stuff with her that basically said you're too good. We're not going to score all the really difficult stuff you do.
So the way it works is obviously with gymnastics, based on the difficulty is how you get scored, and then obviously completing the item. And she's so much better than everyone and doing things that nobody else can do that it's not even being scored in a lot of people's eyes properly. But that's not the big news from her today. Today the big news was she pulled out of the team event and basically said that it's a mental health check for her. That I think maybe it's just, I don't know because I haven't heard anything in the last 6 hours about it personally, but that there's a lot of pressure on her to carry a team and she wanted to focus more on individual events at this point. But that just she was having a hard time focusing on the team. I don't know exact, so I'm not going to judge, but shout out to her for doing what's best for her. That's what I'll say. And that's kind of where it is. But no, the 17-year-old, and granted, I love to watch swimming. Just men's, women's, it don't matter to me. I love to watch swimming. I was a swimmer in high school. My son's swimming now. I've always enjoyed watching swimming in the Olympics. That 17-year-old, I was at the edge of my seat, not even thinking she was going to win. I was watching like the race between King, the other American, and was it I forget who she was racing. I don't think it was a Great Britain, and it wasn't an Australian. I forget who it was. But then she came on real strong at the end. And then the best moment I've seen so far is she's 17. She just graduated high school, basically, watching her high school classmates go nuts. And just thinking like, what a feeling. Like tiny little Alaska where they say there's one 50-meter pool. That's like being a disc golf world champion and you've played on
like a 6-hole course
a 6-hole par 3 course.
Yeah.
That you just like, oh, cool. This guy, that's all he has. And he comes out and he crushes. So it was a great story. And I look forward to, hopefully a couple more years of her doing that. And Michael Phelps brought up a really good point in one of the interviews that he was doing about how our team is very, very young. A lot of young kids, 17, and that's really great for them because everything got pushed back a year. So they would not have probably been either on the team or even competing last year. The problem is some of the really good older players now have an extra year under their belt and they're not performing nearly as well as they thought they might. So there's some give and take in the team. You're getting a bunch of youth that's going to get experience. They'll probably only get better, but some of the players or people who thought they were going to do so well last year now get pushed back and probably aren't able to compete with a few people in their prime. So either way, I love watching the Olympics. Again, I love watching swimming. There's a few other really cool events that I look forward to every year, but or every 4 years technically. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, I'm a headlines kind of guy occasionally sometimes if it crosses my path, and those are the main things that I had seen. Could you just imagine though, and I know it's not a direct comparison really to what we're doing, but just imagine like, oh, sorry Simon, you throw too far. You get a stroke added every time you get to a par 5. We're just adding a stroke to your score or whatever, somehow taking away the advantage in that or not being able to even recognize in any way, shape, or form, or taking away the advantage. I don't know how you want to look at it, but the fact that she's just not getting scored on things that are difficult. And they're saying, right, that they don't want others trying it because it's so challenging for them, or would be. And
dangerous, they're saying.
Dangerous. So, like, it's an interesting. I know nothing about the Olympic Committee. I don't need to, but it's an interesting take for sure.
It really is. And if you take a look at, she's just the next level of competitor. She's doing things nobody else can do. Take a look, and you can do this with almost any sport. Go back 50 years. Watch Olympic gymnastics 50 years ago. You've got people just running and jumping over the pommel horse. Cool. You did us. You jumped over and did the splits and landed on your feet. Congratulations. Now we have people doing, 2.5 flips, bouncing off of their hands upside down. It's ridiculous what we can do now. And she's just the next level of competitor. And unfortunately, I think this will be probably the end of her career. She's 26 now, I believe, or 24, 26. But she was complaining. She's like, "Yeah, I wake up and I'm a little sore now these days."
Just gonna say,
I don't recover like when I was 18 or 19 or 20. So, props to her. She's truly, and I hate to use the term, but she's truly the GOAT. She's the greatest gymnast of all time.
Some people are talking on the board about James Conrad, and we won't go too far into it because I think we touched on it last week, but just James Conrad, the disc, how he continues to use the disc in which he threw in. That's just been kind of his style. Obviously, we've talked about MVP making commemorative discs. I know those are being assembled as we speak. Did we talk about a number? I know we joked about it while we were at the celebrity event at Askren's, and I think it was Kelvin who initially brought it up and said something about opening bids 5,000, and James said, "No, I wouldn't let it go for 5,000." And then Jeff Spring chimed in from behind him saying something about, like, I don't know if he said 20 or 25,000, and James is like, "Yeah, okay." So clearly. And he said, like, would you let it go for, I think it was 20,000. Would you let it go for that? And he's like, yeah, I would. Like, yeah, I would. So it's clearly his number is somewhere between 5 and 20. If somebody really showed up with, that kind of money in front of him. Clearly we can't take it away from him, like rip it out of his hand and say, hey, this is going into a Hall of Fame.
It's too nice. If I stole it, he'd just be like, okay.
What's the number? Your number's different from James, which is probably different from mine.
If I had, let's just say, unlimited income,
okay,
and I could just say, this is the number I would pay for the disc. To me, yeah, probably 15 to 20,000. Yeah, I think that's about what it's probably worth. I don't know if you could get any more than that on the open market right now. Like, if you just opened it up and said, someone take this. I mean, maybe. I don't know if it's gone down in value in the last 3 weeks or whatever Worlds has been, as opposed to selling it, say, pretend you sold it right after that event. You put it up on, some site and you say, cool, let's make some cash.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it probably could have gone for 50. I don't know if that hype is still there right now for it, but it's a piece of history.
It certainly is. And yeah, I again, I'm a little bit of a hoarder / museum historian type. So I do think it would be cool, of course, if it was placed somewhere. I don't think he owes that to anybody. If he wanted to volunteer that to be placed somewhere, there's no such thing as a Disc Golf Pro Tour museum right now. It could be.
Yeah, but why would it even go there?
It
wasn't. It was a Worlds event. It wasn't
correct,
Pro
unless
Tour.
the Disc Golf Pro
if they
Tour
wanted it,
or the Disc Golf Network, wanted to purchase it, as opposed to the PDGA, as opposed to MVP. You said last week, MVP Steve would love that at the MVP headquarters.
Oh, 100%.
With lasers shooting all around it, protect it like Mission Impossible. So I don't know. Massive J, you're right. It wasn't even a $20 disc. I mean, if you really want to get, real nitpicky and specific, not that James paid for it, but even at retail, it wasn't a $20 disc. But clearly, anyone knows that that it is so much more than that right now. And if you don't find value in that or wouldn't pay it, that's fine. There are thousands of others that would pay, way more than that.
I think in my current financial condition, if he
would you buy a new house just to put it in?
No.
Bougie bitch.
Bougie. I'd buy it for $5,000.
Okay.
Right now, I think I could. I could see dropping $5,000 on that and being like, okay, James, give it to me, because I think I could flip it for more than that in the future.
Wow. Okay. So that would be he's not letting it go, and you're also not giving him $5,000.
No,
but
I'm not. No.
If he did, that would be your intent.
Yeah. If he came to me and said, hey, John, you can have this for $5,000, I would easily write him out a check for it.
Okay.
And I would say, cool, thank you, James, I'll take this. And I would probably hold on to it, or I'd probably store it somewhere for a few years, and then at some point turn around and flip it, because there's no reason that I would need it or want it.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's a piece of history, but it's not my history, and I think it should, in theory, in the long run, belong to the disc golf community in the future. But I would want my piece.
Yeah.
I would want my cut if I ever had it, and that just the way it works. I wouldn't buy it for $5,000 to turn around and give it to somebody. Be like, oh, out of the kindness of my heart, here you go, disc golf
for
PDGA.
the good of the game.
No,
I'm never voting for you as a board member.
That's fine.
Ever.
That's fine.
You selfish son of a. Because that would be the right thing to do, is to buy it.
No, it wouldn't.
Okay, maybe not.
So that's you would buy it for $5,000.
I would, for $5,000. I would.
Yeah. I know you.
And I would,
but you would probably keep it.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
I would
because
probably have a
you're
hard time
parting with it,
ever
You
letting
never.
it go, unless the offer was
never.
insane.
If
the offer was insane that I couldn't turn it down and offer then to purchase it, then I could probably. But yeah, I would scrape together $5,000 right now to if for some stupid reason he offered to me for that, which he wouldn't, nor should he.
No,
but if he did,
to either of us,
yes,
I mean, he just heard what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
with
I was going to say,
so
at least with me, my intentions aren't capitalistic in this case. Usually they would be.
But see, so here's the deal, though.
That wouldn't be my initial intention.
I plan on outliving you. And so when you die, I am going to be flipping all of your plastic.
Okay.
For the good of your family.
How old am I dying? At what age do I die?
Let me check your heart real quick.
Surprisingly, my cholesterol's good, believe it or not.
I don't know, about 3 years before me.
Okay. So when I die at 87 and you die at 90,
sure,
you're gonna cash. You think you'll be cashing in on those on all those frisbees?
Well, for your family, not for me.
Okay.
I mean that's. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm not cold-hearted. I'm gonna,
okay.
I'll help I'd help your family out, but that'd be the first disc I'd go for in your collection. Then,
yeah, that makes sense.
That would make sense, and I would make sure to flip it because your family doesn't have any clue as to what those discs are.
By
the
that
girls
time,
could maybe.
By that time, my daughters will be fully up to speed on some values. They're going to be selling AJ Avery Jenkins 3-line destroyers, and they're going to be selling Paul Macbeth Tour Series Lunas. Yeah, they'll be making that coin. I'm sure.
Yeah, but they literally will have to wait till you die, because you'll be like, oh no, don't sell that. Do you know I got that at the No Foolin' number 9?
Back at Hudson Mills.
Oh no, please. That is an X clone. Do you know what an X clone is?
Scott Stokely had the world record with this X clone. And I do have a Scott Stokely signed X clone too.
I know you do. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way anyone's going to sell anything as long as you're alive.
We'll see. Every once in a while. I mean, this car purchase got me thinking, like, should I let a few discs go? Like, yeah, there's some thoughts that have come to mind, but you're right. They probably won't be. All right. I'm going to try and catch up on the board. Sam says, Johnny, I will add a second $5,000 to yours.
Thanks.
We sign a contract that we sell it the day someone offers us enough to double our investment. Okay. Somebody said something about the Build-A-Bear section. I don't think I caught that. Build-A-Bear Terry section of the gift shop. Terry could easily double his money eventually. You can't take your storage locker of hoarded discs to the grave, bro. You're right. So that for that reason,
no, but they could literally be his grave. I could literally, like, this is the Terry storage locker. Literally come see his collection and Terry. We put him in a glass case like Lennon, and just you come and pay homage to the disc golf guy and his collection.
And then, like, I want my eyes though to be somehow on motors so I can watch you walking around me looking at all the discs.
Fucking creepy.
I don't know. Those are just some ideas. We'll see.
Can I, okay, scratch the glass coffin.
Okay. Well, don't put a scratch in it, but okay.
Can I taxidermy you? Like in a throw position? Like, come see the disc golf guy?
Yeah, would I be throwing or would I be holding a camera or a microphone? So many options there.
That's true. Not a camera.
Okay.
You'd probably either be holding a microphone or throwing. I guess holding. We'll do holding a microphone.
Do you think you have to pay more because of my size?
No, we'll have you with holding a microphone out. So, like, people can pretend to be interviewed by the disc golf guy.
There you go.
Even after you're dead.
That's
now I'm thinking, and I will sell tickets to that.
Yep, you just sell tickets so you walk
That's
right up.
Walk by and you know, and they push a little button and it says, "I'm the disc golf guy, and this is my video blog."
How did your round go?
And then people can get answers.
That's not a bad idea.
See, now we're thinking.
Yes.
Now we're thinking.
Yes, from.
I mean, granted, we could probably do this with like a wax dummy now, but it won't be nearly as much fun as the real Terry Miller.
The real dead Terry Miller. That's not a bad idea.
I know.
All right.
Welcome to the morbid version of Smashbox TV.
This all airs right after Coffin Flops.
Oh God! Oh, I still laugh so hard when I think of that. Coffin Flops.
All right.
Oh, that's great. That great.
Arguments. Oh, Massive J says I need that quarter K. Yeah, I think I may or may not have told that story. Somebody maybe it was Massive J. I apologize. Somebody a few months ago while I was vending at Gray Fox down in Kenosha, Wisconsin area, looking for they love this disc. They love the quarter K, and they showed it to me, and I'm like, yeah, I literally have like a box of 25, and I think I have another box of 25.
Oh my God, sell them if they want them, because they're so not worth anything.
Yes, they are. They're worth everything to me.
They're so not worth anything to almost anybody but you.
All right, so a little quick history lesson for those. There was a company named Disc Wing, is what I believe they're called.
Yep.
Tons of hype, a ton of hype. And if you're a little old school, you'll already know some of this on the board. And I'm going to give the abridged version because it's all I remember. But a ton of hype around Disc Wing. They were going to be revolutionary, as every company is when they come out. And they created a disc, and they were calling it the quarter K. And it had a really
a rounded edge.
A rounded bottom. So imagine the flight plate on the bottom side where the inner side of your fingers go where you're cooling around, not on the leading edge, so to speak, on the nose of the disc, but on the bottom side.
Although that wasn't extremely sharp either.
Yeah, it was just more rounded than almost any other disc I'd ever felt. And there was just a ton of hype around getting them released. They had cool artwork.
Yep.
They took out full-page ads in the disc golf magazines. And it was all about this, the quarter K from, I want to say England? Somewhere overseas. I apologize. Somewhere overseas. And this is when there was only a couple manufacturers. There wasn't the 10 or 15 or 20 or, well, I know there's dozens now, but there was realistically like 5 you could name at the time. And so there was all this hype around it. And then a version of it came out. I don't think it performed well or they didn't like it. And I know then they went to the quarter K2.
Yep.
And also released that.
And that one I think had dimples. Like was that the one that had?
No.
Are you sure?
No, I don't.
I thought they
don't
released
think
one that had like dimples on it.
I don't think so. But the big challenge though, and this is again I think way before we had 38 versions of plastic types, it was a little more rubbery.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't rubber, but it felt a little more rubbery. And the big criticism of them was that they were great and they flew pretty good. They were pretty fast disc and all that. However, you hit like one tree and everyone's like, then they're junk. Like you hit one tree, it's done. That's it. And then I don't know if there was more production problems or if it was I'll say tariffs or a transport problem, whatever it was at the time. There was all sorts of challenges. And that is kind of where they started and died. And if there's any other updates, major updates that I'm missing, I'd love to know them. But in the meantime, they had, as far as I knew of, only had released white and red ones.
Mm-hmm. That sounds right.
And
was that a white one?
I believe that I had ordered a sleeve, so to speak, and I think I ordered a whole sleeve, which was 25 or 30-ish of the white ones, and the same of the red ones. And because they weren't overly popular, and I think they were largely overpromised and underdelivered, they just kind of, like I said, came and went at the same time, and that was the end of it, as far as I recall. So somewhere in storage sits 2 sleeves of red and white quarter Ks, and the really big brain picture behind this. It was. Do you know why it was called the quarter K?
I don't recall.
I think, unless I'm making this up, it was called the quarter K, as in a quarter of a kilometer, which would be what, 250 kilometer, or not kilometers, 250 quarter of a quarter of a kilometer. So 0.25. I don't know how far that is. It's supposed to be a long distance. You can tell we're not. How do you spell kilometer? Oh, there we go. 0.2. Oh, so a quarter of a kilometer is 820 feet. And so it was obviously a big distance driver. I don't know if the claim then or the logic was that you were going to then throw it that far, but it was supposed to be a super fast driver. And that's why it was called the quarter K.
All right. Yeah, we were trying to do feet, not meters. I mean, obviously 250 meters, but obviously with that being, 3.2 feet, it's easier just to do the math on the computer. Yeah. Well, how'd that work out for him?
Yeah. So, is it supposed to be 250? Yeah, 250 meters is 0.25 kilometers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I'm smart.
That part. Oh, and you were trying to convert it to feet, which is what.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's do a giveaway, Terry Miller. We have a Patreon giveaway. We've got a few new Patreon supporters that are in our list. I believe it was Matthew Gilbert and Paul Rokeby Thomas got in tonight, and they are in.
They're eligible. They may not be on the credits, but they are in on the action for the giveaway. So Matthew,
100%.
You are not being slighted in any way. Well, for the giveaway, and I mean, we all know that's what it's all about.
Correct. And Matthew, I'll reach out to you because you are at the $5 Studio Mini level, so we will get you a studio. I've been waiting for 1 or 2 more because I've got like 2 or 3 I want to order. But I was just, for something about me, likes to order them in packs of 5. But
there's a little more economics to that.
Exactly. Sure. So whatever. So I'll get that taken care of. But Terry Miller, we have. Oh, I forgot to actually add up the total number. I think it's 202 tonight.
That means we added a few since last week. We've got
more
friends.
Yep, it is set to 202. We have 202 people eligible.
How did you sort them?
Sort them by email address tonight.
All right, we've got some stuff to give away. I'm a little backlogged. I'll admit it now. I know I'm a little backlogged. I think I'm also waiting on a number of addresses as well. So it's a two-way street here sometimes. Mm-hmm. And then once I get the address for the street you live on, then it's a lot easier. So until then, it's a little bit of a two-way street. All right, Johnny, you're going to, well, I mean, all this quarter K talk and the quarter K2, I think that, 2. Quarter K2.
Quarter K2.
Second number you draw tonight. That's how I'll arrive at that.
First number is 191. Are you going over or under the next number?
I mean, sheer stats have to say that's going to be under.
All right. Second number is 55. Way to play the numbers, Terry. Way to go on a limb
I'm such a basic.
Yeah. Just 55. Let me scroll up here to 55.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's funny.
I'm laughing because it's Doug Porter. Doug Porter, one of our good old friends from way back when.
And he's got to be a long time smashy.
He is a long time smashy. Doug Porter, heavily into rugby, the sport rugby. He actually reached out to me many years ago about streaming rugby stuff. So, congratulations,
Let's
Doug.
Go stream rugby. That'd be so much easier.
It would be. It'd be pretty easy there. So anyway, congratulations, Doug Porter.
Doug, you want a quarter K?
You want to send him a quarter? He probably has some, actually.
He does.
He definitely does.
He does.
So.
One of those old school.
Yep. Dan Harbeck knows Doug Porter. So
yes. Heck yeah. Yeah, Doug, let's nope, Doug is not a drunk disc blaster. I know that for a fact. But I like how you like to throw those around. Yeah, scrum cam. That does sound like a good idea, even though I don't know.
The scrum is where they
No,
all.
I know that. I was going to say I don't understand overall how the game works, but I did know what that was. All thanks to Rivers.
It's like football with tries. I don't
Okay,
know.
we'll go with that. I see my daughter's on the board. Ken's, how you doing? It's probably time for you to go to bed, though.
She ain't
But
got school tomorrow.
that's true. Yeah, that is true. She does not. So, good old Ken's taking in all the action. I don't know. Do we have anything else? Does the board have anything else? Because if not, we can start the shutdown here.
We're gonna call it a night.
Yeah, it looks like we've got just about everything under control.
So the real quick, new house. I think I said this. The guy on the corner of our house, or the corner of the block, has 2 baskets in his front yard. I don't know who it is. It's up off of Brown Deer Road. I actually thought about reaching out to you to look through maybe some of your records to see if there's a disc golfer that lives on there. I'm thinking about just at some point dropping off a Smashbox disc with a little note on it and say, hey, up the block, I'm gonna have a nice big yard. Maybe have 2 baskets too, so we can play back and forth.
There you go.
So
I sense the Main Street tour going on. You guys tossing?
That's right. We're gonna create our own tour.
You should
Live stream it. Open up a subscription service.
Kenzie, I'm good. Hannah Macbeth just chimes in with, I just got done at Planet Fitness in Minnesota and saw like 15 people on tour. It's a poppin' spot.
That's where everyone probably goes to shower.
Yes, and workout. You probably saw Tristan and Ezra, maybe Ben Calloway. Maybe Kat's probably already called it a night. Isn't she a morning workout kind of gal?
She was a morning workout.
Her and Austin. Probably you may have seen Jordan Castro there. Yeah, all sorts of people. I can imagine. I think it's weird that you get out like your Bushnell binoculars and you just peer in from the car, though, from the RV at all these other golfers that are inside there. Yeah. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, Hannah. Yep. She says, I literally saw Tristan and Ezra. Of course you did. I wouldn't expect anything but cats at Longhorn Steakhouse. All right, guys, I think we're going to call it. I'm super excited. The next live action kind of sort of press conference on Thursday. Of course, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll bring you rounds 1, 2, and 3 on those 3 days. Standard traditional format. Start with the MPO feature card, go into that, and then have the FPO feature and then lead card, so on and so forth throughout the weekend back at the Preserve. Looking forward to seeing any changes. He's added a course since we were there last year, of which we're not going to really see or be part of, is my understanding, but another course at the Preserve, so very cool to see for Kale and the crew. All right. I think that's about all we've got. If you got anything else, guys, save it for next week. We'd be happy to share it. We'll figure out, as Johnny just said, things might be a little odd next week with the timing, depending on Johnny's travel schedule or not.
Depends when I get back from West Palm Beach.
Yeah, you baller. And that will be Tuesday the 3rd, and we'll see if we push it back. I don't know if I want to podcast on my birthday.
Well, and then
from afar.
That's the Ledgestone, which starts on Thursday anyway. So I don't know where you'll be and where I'll be.
It might get off the rails next week.
Hannah Macbeth, I might need a co-host. I'll just dump this guy.
Yeah, who knows? For Johnny V, myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, thank you to Robert McCall for joining us earlier. Looking forward to seeing you guys at the Preserve for the Preserve Championships this weekend. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.